Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to the series of building AWS PartyRock app live on this live stream. So till now we have built four apps with four different interesting people with different mindset, and they gave a lot of different examples and shared their experience. Today we have somebody who is very good in the field of artificial intelligence and machine learning. So he is also a AWS hero. Uh, Specialized in the field of AI/ML, as well as he's the user group lead of Madurai. He also is also part of multiple community groups, as well as he also does. He's an MVP of Azure. So many things I don't even remember. I think I will call him on the stream and let him introduce himself with you guys. But today I am sure it is going to be a lot of learning because it is Vivek Raja, who is very enthusiastic about artificial intelligence and machine learning. So, without wasting much time, let's have Vivek on the screen. Hi, Vivek, how are you?
Hi, thanks for inviting me, Dheeraj. It's great.
So, I would request you to please introduce yourself to the audience that what exactly you do, your community work, a lot of contributions that you do before we
Okay,
get
great.
started with Party Rock app.
Yeah, sure. So, hi everyone, I'm Vivek Raja. I'm VP of product at a startup called Nextem. So, Nextem does something very interesting. So, we try to capture your brain waves and understand what you think. So, that's a product that I built. Don't worry, it's completely safe. Apart from my day-to-day job, like I love to be with the communities. That's where I learn, share, and do a lot of things. So I have started AWS user group Madurai way back in 2022. It's just a relatively very new user group, but we have been doing some active, innovative stuff inside our user group, like running college programs, volunteer programs, some creator programs as well. And besides that, I'm AWS machine learning hero. So got that in 2021. So I think I was around the age of 21 at that time, 21, 22 at the time. So one of the youngest around heroes, a little kid around the heroes club, to be frank. Besides that, yeah, I've been part of multiple communities. I love to talk AI/ML in different places, like Azure and GCP and much more. Today, we have something very interesting to build along, and I'm pretty excited. I hope so. Yes. So today we can get started to build something pretty amazing
Mhm.
with Party Rock. Shall
Yeah.
we get started with that?
Okay, so let me go ahead and share the screen for you. Yes, over to you.
All right, yeah, works. So before we jump into to developing something that we really want, let's just explore about what all functionalities it has. So I'm pretty much sure that people who are following this for the series might be pretty much aware of the widgets that we have and so on. So, but today I'm going to concentrate on two different things. One is on image generation and another is a text generation. So before we go into like a proper text generation and chatting with it, let's take something very cool to pick up and so on. Right. So I'm a big fan of F1, and in your home screen, if you go into Party Rock, you will find something called um, F1 helmet designer. That caught my attention very recently, and I wanted to try it on how it works. So why can't we just go and try how this thing works and how cool is it? Okay. So the whole purpose of this Party Rock app is that we could create a mock-up image of an Formula One racing driver helmet, and it's your creativity to give some more details about the helmet, how you wanted to generate, and we are going to get an amazing picture about helmet, an F1 helmet, based on your inputs. That might be a who knows, that might be one of a future helmet for F1 drivers as well, based on your creations. So let's go ahead and do something cool over here. Uh, let's try to put down some more creativity into designing the helmet. So if you ask me, I'm more towards a person who is sort of a neon or something like on the cyberpunk end. So I think that's my first go-to thing. So I'm going to prompt my app to generate something. So design a helmet which has neon-based lights streaming on it with some uh, cool graphics and also represents the curves and straights of F1 circuits and tracks. So basically, I want something to be a little bit it touches about the F1 circuits and track the curves and the road of it. That should be somewhere in the headset, in the helmet, and it should be something very funky, like a neon-based light streaming. I'll just mention it's a cyberpunk, so we'll get to much more closer to it. So let's see how this image generation works, and that's going to be our first app here. So it takes a bit of a time to do it, and yeah, it looks pretty cool. So
Yeah,
we had
absolutely.
asked for some, yeah, it's pretty cool, right? So something funky and maybe who knows, it might be one of the helmets in future as well. Yeah. So yeah, as we described, it's a neon-based cyberpunk theme. Like it has a lot of circuit tracks, like the electrical circuits that we have, and much more. So I think so. Now we have a good understanding about how this prompt and image generation works. So let's go back and do something for our own use case, if that's the case, right? So let me take up another some sort of a creative app. So what if I wanted to create uh, how the future uh, suit or dresses for a particular occupation would look like? Okay, so I mean this is all just imaginations and creativity, and we have something more interesting and technical stored in the second half of this session. But yeah, let's get started with something a little bit creative. So I wanted to design. I want to build an app. So this is how you create it. So you click on generate or build an app, and you give a prompt what this app should do. So you can go with much as detailed as possible. That will help you to create the app in a better way. So I wanted to build an app which takes input from the user. So what all inputs that we want to have? It's like the occupation. Okay. And and some styles, the preferable styles of the user, some extra gadgets that the person should have. Yeah. Okay. So, and these are some inputs that it will take from the user, but what we needs to do is uh, with these inputs, we need to generate a suit or the dress uh, for this futuristic occupation. Or let's not make it as a futuristic occupation. Let's maybe take it as for this occupation for the person in future. So let's see how that comes up. So I'm going to generate this, and what is PartyRock doing in the background is it's going to take these inputs, define the widgets, what it needs to have, and later it's going to create an output widget, which is nothing but your output visualization. So maybe let's start with something interesting. Dheeraj, do you have any ideas about what occupation that you like to see how it looks in the future?
Occupation, right? So it would be AI
Yep.
engineer.
Okay, let's see how an AI engineer looks in future. So let's say this AI engineer is little funky, cool, a little bit loves colors and more into data and colors that match high speed data, something like that. So what sort of gadgets that the person would look like? Okay, so as an AI engineer, he'll be having access to uh, huge GPUs and PCs to run this. Maybe right now we have LLMs. What maybe the future AI engineer might be having access to something more, much more advanced quantum computing, or much more access to huge GPUs and PCs and wired into it, something like that. Let's see how it comes up in a way. So it sort of describes what's the outfit description looks like. So it's a futuristic AI engineer. So it's a graphene infused smart graphic. Tech integration is a neural interface LED status, a lot of holographics, and much more. So he has an accessory of smart glass, multi-threaded belt, and a lot of aesthetic stuff that is goes into it. So maybe this is how a futuristic an AI engineer might look like in future. So yeah,
Can you just click on the setting button of this image widget?
yes,
Is it
yep.
dependent on the combined? No, it's not. Actually, it should be dependent
So
on the above text generation. Then it will give a better image
yeah,
compared to the one that input.
let's try
But
to
yes.
edit it and get that input
Mhm.
as well. So
Mhm.
wearable query from the future, take inspiration from the
Output, outfit description.
description.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So now let's see how that comes
Yeah.
around.
Now it
It's
will vary. Now it will be better, far better compared to the current one.
this prompts. Yep. Yep.
Oh,
I think it fits all the things. Yep.
it fits us.
With
Uh,
smart glasses, a lot of grooves, and much more.
let's change the model and try. Let's try with Amazon Nova
Yeah.
Canvas.
Yeah. Let's go with it.
No, no. If you click
Over
on the
here.
setting over there, again, yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So let's go with yeah. Canvas.
save.
Things to include. Yeah. Yeah. Let's go with it and see how that goes.
Hmm. Let's see if it is realistic or not.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
That's even more, much more cooler. I
yeah,
think it took the whole description into
correct.
to the edge and it perfectly did that. So if you see the gloves, it's matching it, the smart glasses, multi-threaded belt. Yeah, I
Hmm.
think these are the multi-threaded belt. So LED accent strips, holographic panels that is attached to his body. Yeah, I think that's pretty much more perfect to the
Hmm.
outfit description. So Noah done a pretty good job here. Yeah. Great. So with this, I think we can just move to the next part of the session is about. So let's try to tackle something which helps us in real life as well. So if you ask me, so I've been helping people to develop applications more into AI ML, and sometimes I would like to hear some inputs about how we could do it much more better. So that's where I had an idea where how could PartyRock could help me or being an assistant of some architect to help a better cloud architecture, especially focused in AI ML, more into AWS. So and this was also was quite helpful for people to work on some mini projects for college students and working on some POCs if they wanted to try out. And I think that's how we can come up with it. So what we're going to build again here is we want to do build an app that's going to understand the use case of AI ML and other functionalities and requirements. So when you go with AI, any AML project, so the important core aspect of that is data. So we need to first define like how the data is going to be in this whole architecture. Uh, so the data is going to be stored stored in some storage service. Okay. And is it going to be a structured or unstructured data? So I think that is something that we need to be asked from the user. So before instead of telling the data is stored in this one, so we need to uh, ask user about where the data is stored and what sort of data it is and what type of data it is, whether it's structured or unstructured or multi-model data, if that's the case. Okay, so this is the first requirement of data. So now let's talk about how when we take up a machine learning architecture, or if we wanted to propose something, yeah, we understood how the data is going to be, and we also should be aware of how frequent the data is going to be updated. Like for example, let's assume we are going to build like a sentiment analysis for social media users. So which means your data is going to get updated every single second. So we have to take that into account. But it's not necessary to train the data every single second. But the data, when you wanted to understand how frequent the data is going to be changing, so the frequency of the data updation. So let's say um, whether it's going to be daily, weekly, or monthly, then how the data is going to flow in this into the system, right? Because there could be a full dump of data in some storage space. That's one way for us to retrieve and work on top of it. Or the other way is that the data could be streaming from multiple sources, right? So whether it's going to be a data set in storage or it's going to be a streaming data. All right. So we understood how the data is going to be right now. I think it sort of covered the very basics of how the data is going to be. Now let's understand about what's the ultimate core purpose of this particular application is to take up this use case and propose the right machine learning pipeline. So we are going to again instruct the application is that be sure to use only AWS related services and their models. So that just to be sure that the AI ML part is much more clarified here. Okay. So now let's talk about some more important things, like about how scalable is this project is going to be. Like for example, it could be a simple mini project where just 10 people are going to hit this and work on it, or it's going to be a live global product that millions of people might be using it at the same time. So let's think about it. So uh, the inference models should be scalable, but but ask the user to define the uh, daily active usage, whether be it uh, so whether it's below 100 or maybe like up to millions, maybe something like that. So now we understood that the complexity of the problem that we are trying to solve here, right? Okay. Now let's think about how secure it should be, right? So that's the right way to think about it. So to think about how secure your application should be is that ask user where and how the outputs of the inference model is going to be stored or relayed. Okay, that's fine. And also ensure the security of the application data and the model. Okay, so this all works. Now it's also important for us to monitor how well this machine learning model is performing over the time. So monitor the ML model over the time and also suggest when the retraining should be possible and required. Okay. So, and the most importantly, we are going to touch base on make it cost effective. Okay. So I think this sort of pretty much covers for a decent first approach towards any architecture, but we define more towards on the machine learning end. That's the case, right? So let's think about this and think how are we going to generate, and let's go with it. So it's trying to define what sort of inputs and widgets it needs to take care of. So it came up with an application name called Dataflow ML Architect. So let's start with it. So Dheeraj, if you would like to add some more points as you are one of the experienced architects in cloud. So if you'd like to add much more on the well-architected frameworks, what sort of points that you would also consider and add to it?
Uh, right now, from this use case, well architecture framework comes into picture, or it is more focused towards data pre-processing and data pipeline?
It's more towards data pre-processing, data pipeline, but we have also considered around, we have also ensured that this application is going to be cost effective and also has security and monitoring aspects as well.
Okay. So data
So maybe
storage
we could just
location.
give a
Oh,
short about what is that it's going to be.
data
But
type.
I'm still want to edit.
No, you cannot edit this now.
Oh, okay, yep. So yes, so this is just a net. Okay, let's maybe just start with it. How this data flows. Let's assume that I'm going to build an application where I wanted to log the attendance of students in a school. So which means we are going to talk about something where this is going to be deployed in schools, and each school might be having. Let's even consider a simpler use case. Let's imagine we are just developing it for one school where it's going to take the attendance based on the face recognition. If that's the case, where is the data is going to be stored? Let's say that it's going to be all the images which is going to be captured from a webcam or somewhere it's going to be stored in. Uh, the images are going to be stored in um, S3 buckets, um, and what sort of thing we are going to work on. So it's going to be an unstructured data and how frequent it's going to be updated. So schools do not bring in students like daily or something. So maybe just in case if there is a new joinee or there is a something that's
Mhm.
happened on the monthly basis, let's
Yes.
maybe take that as a consideration. Right? So how are we going to allow the system to ingest this particular data? So of course, like let's imagine at the time, like you have like, at around 8 a.m. is where most of the people go into the school, and it's where you need to be streaming and getting the inferences right at the minute as well. So let's go with stream processing. What's a daily usage? I'm just going to make it as maybe 5,000 so that we cover almost all the use case. So where do you want to relay the data? So the data should be led to an front-end application. Now let's see how that comes around. So again, this is should not you should not take this as a literal response and work on it. It's a very good guide and it's a good starter, I would say. And but you have to analyze what really fits best for your requirements. Understand and go and check your pricing calculator or your pricing so that you don't incur some unaccounted costs that could blow up your bills, right? So be very responsible on that front. All right. So what it's actually doing is that, yeah, so it's going to take a raw S3 bucket for raw data, and it's going to do some processing. And it's also going to use S3 buckets to store the model artifacts. That's pretty good. So it's going to take Amazon Kinesis to real time ingest the data, and also it's going to put that through Amazon Data Firehouse for data transformation. And since it's going to be event driven, like the event here is the student capturing the image and then asking whether it matches the database, and then it's going to mark the attendance, right? So those event management is right now done by Lambda. It could be also done by any series of thing as well. So if it is a batch, you could still go for AWS batch. You could still use step function to orchestrate those steps of execution as well. So you could go for it. And what all ML services is going to be used? So we are going to use SageMaker for training and deployment, and comprehend SageMaker endpoints to model serve it. Of course, you don't really need transcribe or text analysis. So that's where you might have to rework a little bit on the prompt and the architecture, because these are something unnecessary. So it has given us some specifications, like which would be better endpoints that we could do so that it could handle this much of a scale, what sort of encryptions that we have to follow, and how we need to set up monitoring. So we're going to check some custom metrics. Let's, for example, so we are going to do some image matching, right? So it's going to be how accurate it's going to be. So it's, if we define the F1 score over the time, and if the F1 score is dropping over the time, that's when we might have to consider that the performance is not good, and we might have to give it for a retraining or something. So the SageMaker model monitor exactly helps you with it. So it's about whether the model quality is drifting apart or the data quality. Let's assume the webcam or the source of camera or the source of images which is capturing has a lot of interferences like lighting or multiple faces in the same image and much more. So I think this is where you have to ensure that the data quality is also being maintained, and what would be the better aspect of it. So some customer optimization techniques. So it has some reserved instances, because we know the predictable workloads. It's mostly during the check-in and check-out times, right? So you could auto shut down your notebooks, because none of them are going to really log in or check in for attendance post 9:30, 10 a.m. and until your school gets over, right? So you don't really need it. So you could auto scale your instances in that case. So it's really a cost-effective, good method. And then you could still take those custom metrics and analyze the drift in the model and maybe put it for retraining. So it's some sort of gives like this. That's where the data ingestion comes in. You store it. You do some ML processing. You store the model artifacts in your S3 bucket and create some inference points to do that. So this is how you have now created a full-fledged way of understanding different elements of a machine learning pipeline for your use case. And your party doc has been pretty good. I would say that it's not really a very great answers, but it's really a very good starter for you to think about what's the right strategy for you to build in. So I think that's one that you say. So, Dheeraj, what do you think about this? How well did you think this party rock has come up with the answers over here?
I think it is very relevant because as I have worked on AI ML thing, so whatever it has given in terms of SageMaker as well as the fine tuning, it is very relevant. The reason for that is, as you said, notebooks. So whatever data it is going to consume, it is going to consume from S3. So over there, it was asking to keep that in intelligent tier. So when it is not going
Yep.
to be used by notebook, automatically it is going to be charged less. That is
Yes,
one very
correct.
good point. As well as it is saying that auto shutdown ID notebooks. So ID
Yes.
notebooks actually holds a lot of data because it is very well connected with the models which we have
Mm-hmm.
downloaded from Amazon Bedrock or in the SageMaker where we are
Yep.
using it. So it is heavy and it keeps on incurring data or incurring some cost. So that is again the
Mm-hmm.
right thing along with the right sizing of the endpoints. So that makes too much
Correct.
sense to me. And for data quality model, this SageMaker is already there. So
Yeah.
the SageMaker is having a lot of functionalities. I have worked on it, but this fine tuning, the way it was integrated was very good, as well as the
Hmm.
if you see the event driven architecture they have also came up with, where they are talking about
Yes,
how
correct.
you can use the events and take some actions, which is at the end
Yep.
that they are talking about. So it makes sense. I think
Yep.
right
Perfect.
now the output that you are getting, it is from Claude, but if you change your Amazon Nova, it will give you in more details that how exactly. I have actually tested when it comes to this thing in terms of
Oh.
models. So AWS models gives better answer compared to the one that we have
Hmm.
with this Claude or something.
Great. So we could still maybe try maybe another simple use case for the interest of time. Um, let's say that I'm going to um, it's going to be RDS where it's going to where it
Like Redshift,
says
Redshift.
yeah. So let's take in such a way that it sort of goes into some social media clickstream or something to
Yeah,
check maybe on that front. So it's going to be some structured data. It's going to be clickstream. It's real time and continuous.
continuous. Yeah,
So we have to stream process it. Let's imagine that it's going to be 1 million people,
um,
and output is at let's just maybe put it
DynamoDB,
out to yeah, let's put it out to DynamoDB. Maybe we
DynamoDB.
could take
Yeah,
that for more further processing
for the
for
processing.
analysis
Yeah,
or something.
yes, for
Yeah.
event-driven implementation.
So let's see what this has come up with. So yeah, again, data streams for real-time continuous, for transformation, it is recommending Kinesis Firehose, Redshift for querying those structured data, and DynamoDB for your processed output data. So it has given some building, training, and machine learning model SageMaker and comprehend for natural processing. So from the text data from the Clickstream. So maybe this is a very good place for us to understand how we could serve good ads to the people based on their click nature, right? So if the clickstream includes images, you could use recognition for image analysis. Like for example, the other day I was scrolling one of my Instagram accounts and I accidentally clicked a dress, a shirt dress from a very popular brand, and for the next few days, it was just my whole social media was bombarded with that. So I think internally it sort of uses this architectures to do that pretty intelligently, right? So, and auto scaling, it makes sure that it scales up through your throughput and ensures security measures like you keep that your Redshift in your another VPC for added security, and you encrypt your data wherever your data is moving apart, and also create specific IAM roles so that there is no unintended usage or accesses to it. Few monitoring setups to make sure that the performance and the quality of the ML models, as well as CloudWatch to make sure that we have Kinesis, data stream, we have Lambda, we have Redshift clusters, and DynamoDB. We're going to have a good monitoring system to make sure that there's nothing going wrong in that front, and a couple of retraining strategies. And it also gave a little bit of a textual representation, which is sort of pretty nice for us to
Yeah,
do it. So
agree.
that's so comparatively, I think the Amazon models are performing pretty well. Yes.
And if you see, the special thing I see is the security factor it has added over there. It was not there
Hmm.
in our previous thing. So over here, it has given detailed encryption and at what level of encryption you can put on, like
Exactly. Yes.
server side encryption, then client side, and everything.
Hmm. So, and also a better way is to of course, we discussed a lot of cost optimization over there, but I think it has also pretty much opted for spot instances because so that you could drastically reduce your training job costs. That's good one. And also in your Lambda functions, we are going to optimize the code. Obviously, that will help. And also the memory settings to make sure that the execution and time, as well as
Yes,
the relative cost of it, is pretty less.
yes, yes. I
And
agree. I
a
agree.
good way of CI/CD for model retraining and deployment. So though we discussed about retraining over there, and it suggested us to use model quality and watch for it, but the idea behind how to really do it, it comes up over here. So you have to set up some CI/CD pipelines to make sure that you train and retrain and deploy those models. That's a good
And
one,
if
I
you see
think.
that flow diagram, it is, see, by default it has came up with flow diagram. So this is actually very
Hmm.
important when you are representing this to your management team, that what exactly comes to your mind, what kind of implementation
Yes.
you're doing. So it is showing that the social media Clickstream, it is
Hmm.
number one, point A where it starts, then it goes to Kinesis stream, then it goes to Firehose, then from Firehose you have Lambda for transformation, it goes to Redshift, DynamoDB, SageMaker. It's not perfect, but still you get a rough idea about
But
what
still
exactly
very
is going
good.
to happen. If you have experience, you will
Exactly. That's
understand for sure. Right, Vivek?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And obviously, as I always say, is that do not rely completely on these answers, but it's an extremely good starter for anyone who wants to. For example, I might have missed a couple of good strategies to make sure my data is secure, and I can take some inspirations out of it. And and at the end of the day, you are the master. You are in control of the data. You are in control of the architecture. So be responsible. So this is a shared responsible way of doing it. So you take the right inputs from your any generated answers or anything, put it into a self-evaluation, test it out, research, and then use those inspirational ideas to make sure that you get the right outputs and the right way. So that's always my thumb rule for this. So I think that's a pretty good a demo of Party Rock ads today. So we did some little bit of a helmet design for F1, which is my personal favorite. We did a little bit of creative stuff around some professional attire for in futuristic stuff, and we actually saw some real use case where we could get some help to develop a good machine learning solutions using this Party Rock. And a few things that I could put that as an inspiration is that you could use document summarizer. You could get some help and advice, like advisor for your career as well. And something else on the resume builder as well. So you could upload your resume and you could ask it to optimize it. You could put some your manual inspiration around that, and it would help you to restructure your resume much more better. So these are some of the very innovative ways or very good ways to make it much more handy, and also it helps you to um, get hold of it and work on something more serious, more valued, and you could pass down these mundane tasks to these AI tools such as. So I think that's a pretty good one today we saw. What do you think about it? You're muted.
Sorry, I was speaking on mute. Absolutely, I agree with you. And it was really a very good live stream where we spoke about artificial intelligence and machine learning. So Party Rock itself is part of it, and today was the stream which was very focused on AI/ML, where we are talking about how you can generate images, how Party Rock helps you to summarize your data, how Party Rock helps you to advise you based on the input that you're giving that he has developed. I think in two apps you showed, right? The first was
Yep.
providing the input and getting the image, and that was maybe the multimodal model in the
Yes.
backend, and the second one was also multimodal, but still it was more on to text processing, that is text input and text
Hmm.
output. So that was really helpful. And people who are looking forward to get started with SageMaker, because I have been getting a lot of feedback, people saying SageMaker looks very difficult. It's not. Maybe you need an advisor, and the way he had created one, I think you should share, make it public and share with the audience, Vivek, so that they can
Yeah, yeah,
leverage
sure.
this advisor, and understand how they can use AWS SageMaker and SageMaker, and how they can optimize costs while using it, because that is the main thing that comes into picture when we are using AI/ML, cost optimization.
Yeah,
So that's a
correct.
very good inputs. Thank you so much, Vivek, for sharing all these insights. So before we close the live stream, is there anything else you would like to share as a conclusion note, or any input from your end before we end this live stream?
Yeah, so stay tuned to a lot of things that's been happening in the AWS community space. So people like us has been putting some efforts into getting some amazing content and useful learning resources absolutely for free for you to consume. So all you have to do is just keep an eye out, learn something new, reciprocate it, and come back and share what you learned, and come back and share us a feedback that will help us to put more content like this. And you will also be one of the future people who will be coming down with more innovative ideas and more innovative AWS content. So AWS community is a free space. You could contribute on various levels, and it's all about learning, networking, and sharing. So feel free to hop in if you're not hopped into any user groups before, and stay tuned to a lot of AWS community days happening around, and look forward to the meetups that's happening around in your cities. So that's my tip for the end of the day.
So only AWS community. What about Azure?
Yeah, it's like at the end of the day, it's
Any
community, right?
community, if you
So
want to learn, communities all around. It's not
yeah.
specific to cloud or something. That's what Vivek is trying to say. Go ahead, learn it. Go to any community, you will find Vivek. So he's everywhere.
Yeah, right. So thanks
Okay,
for
guys.
having me, Dheeraj. It
Yes.
was fantastic and lovely.
Thank you for joining the live stream. Thank you guys for joining the live stream and watching us live building an app. Stay tuned for the next video where we would be again building some app with Kevin and some other folks from AWS community. So stay tuned and have a great day ahead. Bye for now.